Hello everybody, Chess Coach Tendai here. I'm going to talk about the bishop. The bishop can move any number of squares diagonally, backwards or forwards, so long as no piece is blocking its path. The bishop may move any number of squares diagonally, backwards or forwards, so long as no piece is blocking its path. So this bishop is on e4. Rather, let me put the bishop on d5 because that's the square we've been using for the other pieces. Let's show the squares that this bishop can move to. Can go there to e6, f7, g8. It could also move from d5 to c4, b3, a2. From d5, this square, it can move to e4, f3, g2, h1. From d5, it can go to c6, b7, and a8. Those are the squares that this bishop on d5 can move to. Those are the possible moves that the bishop can make. Okay, let's remove these pieces. Now, the bishop can continue in its path on the diagonal as long as it's not blocked. So let's say there was a pawn there, and there's a knight here, there's a rook here, and there is another knight on b7. This bishop cannot go to f7 because f7 is blocked by the pawn. The furthest it can go in that direction is it can move to e6 next to the pawn, but it cannot go to f7, the square occupied by the pawn. The same applies for the knight on b7. This bishop, for instance, cannot come to that square a8 because there is a knight in the way. So the bishop cannot jump over the knight. Same thing with the rook on f3. The bishop cannot go over the rook or cannot occupy the same square as the rook. So in that direction, the bishop can only go as far as e4. Same applies for the knight on a2. The bishop can only come as far as b3, but the bishop cannot go to the square where the knight is. That knight has taken that square. So the bishop may move any number of squares diagonally, backwards or forwards, so long as no piece is blocking its path. Very important. Now let's come to capturing. Okay, capturing, I'm just going to remove the pieces. Let's say there's a rook there, there's a knight, there's a pawn, and I'm going to put another bishop there. This bishop on d5 can capture that rook, okay, because they are on the same diagonal. So the bishop can capture the rook like that. I'm going to put the bishop back. The bishop can capture the knight because they're on the same diagonal. The bishop can capture the knight because they are on the same diagonal. So the bishop was there and the knight was there. The bishop can capture the knight. There we go. Put the bishop back on d5. This bishop on d5 can capture the pawn on a2 like that. We put it back, and the bishop can capture, bishop on d5 can capture this bishop on f3 like that. We put it back because they are all on the same diagonals. This bishop is a light squared bishop. But what would happen if there was a knight there on g7, a dark square? There is a bishop on c7, there's a pawn on a3, and there is a rook on f2. Can this bishop capture the knight on g7? No, they're not on the same diagonal. So this bishop cannot capture the knight. As you can see, if the bishop were to move in that direction, it would move on that diagonal, which is along different squares. The knight is on another square, a dark square. So a light squared bishop cannot capture a piece on a dark square. Same applies to the bishop on c7. This bishop on d5 cannot capture that bishop. They are not on the same diagonal. Same applies to the pawn on a3. This bishop cannot capture that pawn. They are not on the same diagonal. Same goes for this rook on f2. This bishop cannot capture the rook because they are not on the same diagonal. All right, so that recaps movements of the bishop. A light squared bishop can never capture a piece which is on a dark square. Light squared bishop will always be on light squares, and a dark squared bishop will always be on dark squares. Okay, thank you so much. See you in the next one. Cheers, everyone.